Man swallows 40 knives. Picture this. A guy walks into a hospital in India, 2016, clutching his stomach. Doctors think it's a tumor, but nope, it's 40 folding knives. This 42-year-old swallowed them over 2 months, some open, some rusted, all about 7 inches long. He said he loved the taste of metal, like it was candy. Fun fact, the 5-hour surgery to remove them was so wild, the surgeon called it a career first. Imagine gulping knives with a glass of water. Would you even try one? Livulent stomach. In 2013, a man in China checks into a hospital with gut pain. Surgeons open him up and find a 20-inch live eel chomping his intestines. He'd slipped it in himself, inspired by a sketchy constipation cure he saw online. The eel chewed through his colon, nearly killing him. Fun fact, eels can survive hours out of water, so this one was still squirming when they yanked it out. Would you trust a fishy folk remedy after that? Coconut-sized kidney stones. Kidney stones are bad, but coconut-sized ones? A patient in Hungary, 2019, had a stone so big it filled their entire pelvis, thick a 2-pound rock blocking the works. It took a team of surgeons to crack it out, and the patient had been ignoring pain for years. Fun fact, the world's largest kidney stone, removed in 2023, weighed 1.76 pounds, bigger than a mango. Would you tough out that kind of agony, or run to the doc? Hairball Horror. Ever heard of eating your own hair? An 18-year-old in Chicago, 2007, had a 10-pound hairball clogging her stomach, over a foot long. She had trichophagia, a condition where stress makes you munch your locks. It caused vomiting and a 40-pound weight drop before doctors caught it. Fun fact, they call it Rapunzel syndrome when hairballs trail into the intestines. Would you believe your stomach could hide that kind of monster? Fetus and Fetu. Sanjay Bhagat in India looked pregnant for decades, big belly, the works. In 1999, doctors found out why. His twin's body was growing inside him. A rare condition called fetus and Fetu meant his twin's limbs, hair, and organs were trapped in his abdomen, like a real-life horror flick. Surgery fixed it, but yikes. Fun fact, fewer than 200 cases exist. Talk about a sibling rivalry. Could you handle knowing your twin's been chilling inside you? Swallowed dentures. An elderly man in the UK, 2019, went for throat surgery. Afterward, he couldn't swallow. Turns out, his dentures were lodged in his esophagus. He'd accidentally gulped them during a procedure 6 days earlier. X-rays showed the fake teeth hooked tight, causing bleeding. Fun fact, he didn't notice for days because he thought it was just post-op pain. Would you double-check your mouth before surgery? Maggots in the ear. A 92-year-old woman in Wisconsin, 2018, kept hearing buzzing. Doctors peeked in her ear and found 57 maggots throwing a party. A fly had laid eggs in her ear canal, and they hatched into a wriggling nightmare. They flushed them out, and she was fine, but still. Fun fact, maggots can grow to a 1/4 inch in days. Imagine that in your head. Would you sleep with earplugs forever after hearing this? Spoons and forks galore. In 2009, Margaret Dahlman from Holland went to the ER with stomach cramps. Surgeons pulled out 78 spoons and forks she'd swallowed. She had pica, a disorder driving her to eat metal, probably from stress. The cutlery was tangled in her gut, but she recovered. Fun fact, pica is also why some folks eat dirt or chalk. Wild, right? Would you munch a spoon under pressure? Fish in the lung. A 12-year-old boy in India, 2012, was playing a game swallowing live fish. One didn't go to his stomach, it swam into his lung. He couldn't breathe right until surgeons yanked out the 3.5-inch fish, still alive. The kid was fine, but the fish? Not so much. Fun fact, local kids thought gulping fish was a fun dare, until this happened. Would you play a game that risky? Phone in the stomach. A prisoner in Ireland, 2016, wasn't feeling so hot. X-rays showed why. He'd swallowed a cell phone to smuggle it. Doctors tried fishing it out through his throat, but ended up cutting into his stomach to grab it. He pulled through, phone and all. Fun fact, the phone was a basic model, no word if it still worked. Would you hide a phone where no one's looking? Tapeworm brain invasion. An Australian woman, 2020, had headaches for 7 years. An MRI showed a tumor, but surgery revealed tapeworm larvae in her brain. She'd likely eaten pork tapeworm eggs years back, and they set up shop in her skull, causing cysts. She's cured now, but wow. Fun fact, this condition, neurocysticercosis, hits thousands yearly from bad food hygiene. Would you rethink that street taco? Nail in the lung. A Chinese carpenter, 2015, coughed while holding a nail in his mouth. He didn't just swallow it, it lodged in his lung. Doctors chased it with a scope as he kept coughing, moving it from one lung to the other, then his stomach. They finally clamped it out. Fun fact, the nail was rusty. Talk about a tetanus scare. Would you hold nails in your teeth on the job? Toy car in the intestine. A 45-year-old man in Italy, 2021, went to the ER with gut pain. Doctors found a toy car from his childhood stuck in his intestines. He'd swallowed it decades ago, and it sat there, causing blockages over time. Surgery yanked out the plastic racer, complete with tiny wheels. Fun fact, it was a Matchbox car, perfectly preserved like a creepy time capsule. Would you believe a toy could hide in you that long? Cockroach in the nose. In 2017, a woman in India woke up with a tickle in her nose. She went to the hospital, where doctors pulled out a live cockroach. It had crawled up her nostril while she slept, lodging near her brain. They tweezed it out just before it could do worse. Fun fact, the roach was still kicking, tough as nails. Would you tape your nose shut at night after this? Surgical scissors left behind. A Vietnamese man, 1998, had stomachaches for 18 years. An X-ray showed why. Surgeons left 6-inch scissors in his gut after an old operation. They'd sewn him up with the tool inside, causing pain and infections. He got them removed and sued. Fun fact, retained surgical instruments happen in about 1 in 5,500 surgeries. Would you double-check your surgeon's tool count? Bottle cap in the bladder. In 2022, a teen in Texas had urinary pain for weeks. Scans revealed a soda bottle cap in his bladder. He'd inserted it during a dare gone wrong, and it got stuck, causing infections. Doctors fished it out with a scope. Fun fact, the cap was from a cola bottle. Guess he really wanted that fizz. Would you take a dare that far? Sewing needle in the heart. A woman in Brazil, 2014, felt chest pain for years. Doctors found a sewing needle lodged in her heart muscle. She'd accidentally swallowed it decades ago while sewing, and it migrated through her body to her ticker. Surgeons delicately removed it, and she recovered. Fun fact, the needle was still shiny, like it just came off the spool. Would you sew with pins in your mouth knowing this? Plastic fork in the esophagus. In 2020, a man in Japan choked during a rush lunch. An X-ray showed a plastic fork stuck in his esophagus. He'd bitten it off while scarfing down noodles and didn't notice. Doctors snagged it before it pierced anything vital. Fun fact, it was a convenience store fork, cheap, but not meant to be a snack. Would you slow down your next meal after hearing this? Knives, eels, hairballs, our bodies hide some freaky stuff. Which one made you wince the hardest? Drop a comment. Ever heard of something crazier stuck in someone? Smash that subscribe button for more wild medical mysteries, and share this with your friends to gross them out. Let's keep uncovering the weirdest things inside us.